the outset, especially in any biomedical company, you have to understand what your intellectual property looks like. You might need somewhat of a guidance around freedom to operate. You want to make sure that at least you can file in certain countries, and so you're really going to lean on your service provider, especially your intellectual property firms, to give you the advice that you need, so that when you go out and pitch your business, you're not pitching a business and you're not pitching a dream to investors where the intellectual property doesn't exist. Clearly in the biomedical space, intellectual property is the core. All right, everything you do grows from that core. If you don't have it, you won't exist. Okay, because the VCs will say, "Great, but this company owns this company owns this, and where are you going to be able to, really grow your business?" So, understanding what areas you can take your technology into, and showing your investors that, here's my niche area where I have freedom to operate. That's going to be important. And so, very early on, your intellectual property service provider is going to be, your attorney is going to be very important. They're also going to be important in terms of giving you good advice on how to incorporate, which way to incorporate. If you're going to take venture capital money, do you want to be an LLC? Do you want to be a C Corp? So a lot of those decisions that, might be outside of your purview at this point in time because you're so focused on the science, they can really give you good advice on. And so I would say that, you're certainly going to look at having some legal bills up front, and those are some of the things that you're going to have to work with. Some firms will take equity if they believe in you. Some firms will say, "Hey, look at it. We got a business to run here. As a service provider, I have to pay the people who are going to be, doing your work." So make sure that when you go out there, you understand that fact, and you just don't say, "Oh, well, you guys have been so great to you," and you don't talk about what is their per hour rate, because all of a sudden you get this bill and you be like, "Wow, I didn't know you guys are charging me that much." And some early entrepreneurs will get shocked like that. So be very cautious about and respectful of the time that you use with your service providers. I'm not going to talk about investment bankers because I don't know how many are left. So I just went over this. Deciding legal form. So at the outset, accountants can certainly help with the business plan, financials, act as your your part-time CFO. They certainly understand who some of the key investors are in town, so they can help you with that. Now, the business plan, financials, some entrepreneurs will go out there, read a book, handbook for desktop MBA or something, and say, "Oh, I put my financials together, this, that, and the other thing." And really, one of the things that you have to learn as an entrepreneur is that the financials are going to be built on a number of assumptions. Assumptions on sales force, assumptions on pricing, assumptions on, how much research and development you're going to do, your laboratory costs, how much is it going to cost to do clinical trials, how much is it going to cost to do regulatory. So there are a number of different pricing and cost things that you need to know about as you build up these assumptions so that you can get the financials even into a ballpark. It's one thing to go out there and say, "We're addressing cancer. It's $1 billion market." Well, how are you addressing it? How are you going to get there? What's your operating status? So really, I found it's a very insightful discussion to go in and work with, maybe not a big four CFO, but someone who's an entrepreneurial CFO will help you understand some of the cost structures, and you can really pressure test some of the pricing and revenue, top line growth things that you're going to be doing over the next few years as you build out your business. So those financials are really going to be important. At the end of the day, when you go out and you raise money, investors are going to look at you and say, "Okay, well, where are you going to be? What's your profitability?" Not everybody can go out there and say, "We're a software company. We're going to have great margins." Drugs, you can. I mean, it's pretty much nice margin on those too. But you're gonna have to be able to, build up those assumptions, and really, when the investors start doing your due diligence, they're gonna, pressure test your financials to find out if they're really gonna achieve this, or is this just a quote-unquote big idea company. We're gonna put our money here, and we just trust that you guys are real smart.